ex remixed my meltdown into a party song, so I remixed him out of his inheritance. I was 24 when I learned that some people see your pain as entertainment. It wasn't the kind of hurt that heals with time. It was deep and deliberate. It taught me that love was something weak people believed in. It started with Mason, my boyfriend of 2 years. He was the one who pursued me first. He bought the expensive dinners, planned the weekend getaways, said he'd never felt this way before. I believed every word. But promises were just another thing Mason collected and forgot about. Once he had me, the real Mason emerged. He started canceling our plans for better parties, started treating me like an afterthought. He spent his dad's money like it was air, treated people like they were disposable. I made excuses. He was young. He was figuring things out. He just needed time to grow up. The pattern was always the same. He'd promise to do better, then disappear for days. He'd send his assistant to buy apology gifts, usually something expensive and meaningless. When my mom got sick, he texted me a meme, told me to stop being so depressing. He made me feel small for asking for the basics. Then I saw him kissing another girl outside a club downtown. I left him a voicemail that night, sobbing into the phone, asking him why I wasn't enough, why our 2 years meant nothing, telling him how deeply he'd hurt me, how I'd never trust anyone again. I poured everything into that message. 2 days later, he sent me an audio file. It was a track titled Tears. I clicked play and heard my own voice, my crying from the voicemail layered over a pounding beat. He'd auto-tuned my sobs, looped me saying, "You hurt me," into the bass drop. My breakdown was now a club anthem. The message that came with it just said, "Fire track, right?" I sat there staring at my phone, playing it again and again, realizing he'd taken the worst moment of my life and turned it into a joke. That's when something inside me went cold, something that couldn't be fixed with apologies or time. I didn't want to cry or beg or scream. I wanted to destroy him quietly, permanently. Mason's dad, Paul, was a successful tech entrepreneur, recently divorced, attractive, early 40s. He'd built everything Mason was burning through. He'd called me whenever Mason ditched me, checking if I was okay, apologizing for his son's behavior. I'd always kept it short, polite, but now I had a different idea. I forwarded the track to Paul, saying I thought he should know what kind of person his son was. Paul called immediately, horrified, apologizing like it was his fault. He offered to talk to Mason to make it right somehow. I said I just wanted to understand, maybe over dinner, just for closure. We met at his penthouse. I wore the dress Mason always said showed too much skin. Paul opened wine, kept apologizing, saying he didn't know where he went wrong with Mason. I touched his hand, told him he wasn't responsible for his son's choices. We talked until 3 in the morning. I escalated quickly after that. We went for coffee when I happened to be in his neighborhood, dinners to discuss books we both liked. He was lonely, intelligent, actually listened when I spoke. For him, it was real. For me, it was calculated. But Paul was different. He remembered things I said, asked about my mom's health, showed up when he said he would. Mason was too busy with his new girlfriend to notice his dad and I were getting close. He'd post stories from clubs while Paul and I went to galleries. He'd brag about his conquest while Paul taught me about wine. A year passed like that. When Paul hosted his annual family barbecue, I was nervous but ready. Mason arrived late, as usual, strolling in with his latest girlfriend just as Paul was making an announcement. He took my hand and introduced me as his girlfriend. Mason froze mid-step, the beer bottle slipping from his hand, shattering on the floor. His face went white as he stared at us. Paul's voice turned to ice. Looking directly at his son while telling everyone how happy I made him, Mason backed away, shaking his head, then turned and practically ran to his car, leaving his confused girlfriend behind. He didn't speak to Paul for months. By the next year, Paul proposed. It wasn't revenge anymore. Somewhere between the gallery visits and quiet dinners, I'd actually fallen for him. He was everything Mason wasn't. Kind, stable, protective. He made me feel safe in ways I'd forgotten existed. When Paul asked what I wanted as an engagement gift, I didn't have to think. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. I just want our future to be secure, I said quietly. No complications. Paul understood immediately. Within a week and with no hesitation, he met with his lawyers. Mason was removed from the will, the trusts, the company succession plan. My name replaced his on every document. I kept my face neutral as I signed the papers, but inside I was happy. Every signature was payback for my tears becoming his punchline. The engagement party was elegant, intimate. Mason showed up alone, desperate. He'd blown through his trust fund, needed daddy's money again. That's when Paul told him about the will. Mason lost it completely, shouting about lawsuits and manipulation, saying he'd never call me mom. I told him he didn't have to, since he wasn't family anymore anyway. Security escorted him out while he screamed. Paul held my hand through it all. We married the next spring. Small ceremony, perfect weather, everything Mason would have hated. That night, I sent him one text, just the EDM track he'd made of my tears, with a simple message. My husband wants to know if you can make one for our anniversary too.